have these guys here because, as Scott mentioned, unfortunately, they're on a pretty tight schedule. I think even for years of touring and working in a band, I think Tom's found that Dark Horse is probably working harder this weekend than almost anyone else. So at some point, we're going to let them have lunch. So if anybody has any questions, we can go ahead and start with you right there today.
Can you talk about the experience of scoring the graphic novels?
Yeah. Well, I've worked on the score for both Iron Man films and about another half dozen films as well. So the specific idea of scoring for, the inspiration for scoring Orchid came from two sources. One was Peter Gabriel's The Passion, which was the musical score for the movie Last Temptation of Christ. And there was also, I've been to I went to a specific art show in Los Angeles that had a musical score, and I never thought of the idea of sort of combining those two mediums, and that's what sort of set me on the route to scoring Orchid. And it's pretty cool because in this dystopian post-apocalyptic world where it's not a world of the have and the have-nots, the world of the have everythings and the have-nothings, what would the music of that world sound like? And while I'm not a French horn player, I do have some ability on the electric guitar to make my electric guitar sound like a number of different instruments. So creating those in an orchestral score has been the fun part in the channel. Yes, the price is a recession-busting price of $1 for the inaugural issue, and you get a free song. It's cheaper than downloading the song on iTunes. You get the whole media.
Will it be $1 per issue, and how do the economics?
Well, because the economics don't work out, it won't be $1 per issue. No, actually,
it's the entry drug price. First one's only $1, kids.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a variant. The issue 1 also has a variant cover by Shepard Fairey as well. That one is $3.50, but it's Shepard fucking Fairey, so.
It appears that all the comics y'all are working on deal with in some ways social issues, right? How is that different from dealing with typical superhero comic? And number 2, I work at Occupy Wall Street. I want to invite every artist to we're putting together called Occupy Comics. I can pass it on information later on.
Well, I performed at Occupy Wall Street yesterday, so I've already been down there. And I mean, from my point of view, it's like I was a huge comic book collector as a kid and as a teen, and I liked both in my music and in my comics. I loved escapism. I like bands like Kiss and Alice Cooper, and I like comics where Thor and the Hulk were beating the crap out of each other. When I became politically aware and started playing guitar, I put that down. Comic books have come quite a long way, in the intervening decades. And for me, the re-entry drug was V for Vendetta and Red Star were the 2 books that made me think that there's room now in comics for the ideas that I have beyond great battles between muscular dudes.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what I've always done. I mean, if you go back to my first book, I mean it was really deep into that. I don't think superhero comics really play into it for me. I mean, this is the stuff I like to read. It's the stuff I like to research. The stuff that I feel, the stuff that bothers me and gets under my skin. Even as I get older and have kids, when I start talking about things in my book, like the shortage of water and stuff like that, I'm very aware that there may be a time when my kids are going to have to deal with a world that sucks, and so it's sort of it's kind of always in the back of my mind, and maybe this is how I get it out, kind of deal with my own fears.
Any other questions for Tom before we let him get a sandwich?
What's it like working with a female protagonist? How does that make it different for you as a male writer?
Yeah. A principal inspiration for Orchid, when I first moved to Los Angeles, it was in 1986, and I went out there with dreams of rock stardom, and it took quite a long time for those dreams to come through. I was not accepted. It was the height of the heavy metal band thing, and I didn't have the right color skin for that. I didn't have the right kind of hair for that, so I was ostracized by that community. And the first community that that really accepted me was kind of the East Hollywood drug addict and prostitute community. And there were people who, you know, I grew up in a small conservative suburb of Chicago, and then I went to Harvard University, which they did not have a huge population of, you know, drug addicts and prostitutes either. So for me, it was a brand new world, and on the one hand, it was, well, not that I didn't admit to the Alumni Association. But it was a community that was completely accepting of me, and a community that I had once had preconceived notions about. But a number of those people, a number of the women who I faced Orchid on, had huge hearts and were so open and warm. Were hard, but had huge hearts as well. And that was some of the inspiration for Orchid. And also in this world, it's, you know, it's not the haves and the have-nots. It's the have-everythings and the have-nothings. And I wanted the main character to be from the lowest rungs of the social strata. She's a woman, she's a teenager, she's a sex trade worker, and so in a world where all of her people, who are known as the bridge people in the story, are the down and outs, she's as down and out as you can get. Her quest to sort of figure it out is what the story's about.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let Tom take off here. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much.